Right, hello everybody. So I'm going to be streaming for about an hour. What I might try doing with this stream is, if we come across a good point to talk about, just talk about that for a while. Because what tends to happen in these streams, I don't know if slow mode's on, but I'll have to check that, is that lots of people keep trying to spam questions constantly, and then people get annoyed when I don't answer all the questions. So let me check if slow mode is on or not, which I should be able to do from this thing. I can't do it in the pop-out one as far as I'm aware, so what I'm going to have to do is close this, go back to the other one, turn on slow mode if it's not already on, and then go back to the pop-out chat, because slow mode's on at 20 seconds. I have to change that for 30 seconds to a minimum for the stream, put that back out on pop-out, and then hopefully I will be able to keep up with the chat to a degree. Yeah, people have been complaining, Jerry, a lot about YouTube notifications. Oh, I saw you said earlier that you did a video, so I'll have a look at that at some point later. I haven't had time to do it earlier, so let me go back to this and this, and there we go. Alright, cool. Alright, Mike, yeah, good that you did get a notification, because like with your stuff, several people have said to me, oh, I didn't get a notification and everything else. And for the people who weren't here just as I started the stream, I've been saying I'm probably not going to answer loads of questions on this. If I see an interesting topic to talk about, I'll talk about those. But the problem with these stream chats is everybody always spams questions over each other, then gets annoyed when I don't answer all the questions, or have answered them loads of times before. So, yeah, if you're just coming into the stream, I'm obviously not going to be trying to answer every question everybody says. Jerry, I did do a video ages ago on my computer setup. I'm not sure if it's still on YouTube. Well, I'm not streaming Stalker now, because I'm obviously doing this sort of stream. So, if anybody saw this on the news, shall we talk about the zombie knives? It's not a zombie knife. I've got it in my drawer somewhere. It was this one. Now, Mike will know about this. There we go, that was the knife, wasn't it, in the video, or something very similar to that. But this is a zombie knife, apparently, according to the media now, because they don't know what zombie knives actually are. So, any knife is a zombie knife. This is sort of a cheap, crappy knife, but it's fine for what it is. Might practice throwing it at some point, actually. Because zombie knives are banned because it was politicians pretending to do stuff and not actually doing stuff. You know, that's a pretty standard thing. So, rather than actually sorting out inner city poverty and gang violence and anything else, what they'll do is, if we ban the knife, it will go away. So, did you know they're only stabbing each other because they've got these trendy zombie knives, and the zombie knives make them want to kill each other? So, it's not anything reality. Also, apologise if you can hear my cooler. It's over 30 degrees in my room because my room traps heat horribly even with the windows open. So there's no way I'm turning the cooler off. It's unbearable even with it on, but it'd be even worse if I switched it off. No, with swords bans, it's really complicated. The wording is very vague, but as far as I can understand it, if your sword is forged to traditional methods, so it's not stamped out as steel in a factory, it's legal. And if it's a machete, not a sword, it's legal. But there's lots of funny things for stuff, you know, where the actual stuff doesn't quite make sense, and it's vague on purpose, because we've said about this with Weapon Collector a lot, that they make it as vague as possible so people don't really know what their rights are, and it makes it easier for the police to arrest people if they want to. No, because politicians don't actually do anything, do they? That's the thing, they just make everything worse. That might be Niam, the pouches for like the chemical test paper, or just like one of the little utility pouches, because on a lot of gas mask satchels they do have like little random bits in that you can store random things in. We already went over that mental exploration a few minutes ago. And again, I need to go into this because I have to do this every stream. I try not to get too political about stuff as much as I might start ranting about politics. So if you keep asking dodgy political questions over and over for the same people, you'll get a block. I don't want to do that. But again, this is the problem I get when I do these streams, is lots of people keep wanting to talk about a particular subject and keep trying to derail the stream towards it. So, yeah. We're probably not going to talk about politics for the most part, because it does my head in. It's not just you, it's lots of people on here, but generally every time I do a stream, people will ask me my thoughts on a certain political party or political event, and they'll keep trying to derail it if I don't mention it. So I might do what Weapon Collector does at some point, and in my stream description have a thing on there that says, you know, we don't talk about politics or religion in these streams, just for the sake of keeping it civil. Streaming for about an hour, so at the moment it's 7:05. I'll be streaming to 8 o'clock. Yeah, oh, don't forget it has to be bright green as well, Mike. Like, it has to be a silly colour. No, I said before, Ed, I don't have any more ghost stories because I have to encounter ghosts to have them. I don't randomly just make them up. They're things that actually have happened. I do watch a lot of movies. I don't know why you think I don't watch many movies. I watch a lot of movies. I like John Carpenter's films a lot with horror movies. Yeah, I like Hickok 45's channel. Yeah, because bass box, sorry. The thing is they've said they're now illegal and having them's a criminal offence. So by that definition, you're a criminal if you have one. Do you see the problem with this? It would literally be the same thing as saying gas masks aren't used in crimes, but we're making gas masks illegal, and anyone who possesses them is a criminal, and then they can seize them and say, look, we're doing something. And as I've said before, lots of the time when they're saying it's a zombie knife, by definition it's not a zombie knife. I think they're a lot of crap knives myself. I would never buy one. But the point is, this is the kind of bullshit the politicians do to make you think they're doing something, and then they're tricking you if you're actually believing this stuff. You probably have a GP5M, Andrew. Yeah, from what I understand, Punish, my voice is already going a bit, because I think I said to some people earlier I wasn't well again earlier, so if I feel too ill, I'll just cut the stream whenever I need to go. Yeah, I think they had one stabbing with a zombie knife, the media jumped on it, and then the politicians saw it as their scapegoat to say, if we ban the zombie knives, we're tough on knife crime. But if you've been looking at London's violent crime rate with acid attacks, stabbings, shootings, you know, murders, assaults, everything, it's getting worse and worse month on month. So obviously, banning random things. It's like with the firearms, they're already banned. Pistols and submachine guns are banned, yet they're being used in gangland shootings a lot. So obviously, you know. I don't get quite what you mean, just either. What I'm saying is, if people are joking and it's related to the video, it's fine. But if people are randomly just making stupid joke comments, that's where they'll get a warning and a block. Bartos, if I'm pronouncing your name right, you can use pliers. Don't be too forceful, because sometimes they get jammed on. But you can just get pliers and unhook it. They're designed so you can take them apart without tools, so you just need to pull it off. Sometimes there's a knife amnesty and sometimes they're not, so it's basically, they've done things before where they've made something instantly illegal and they've not done an amnesty, so it's, you better not get caught with this thing that was perfectly legal up until a day ago. Yeah, well, it's an L1A1 SLR, which is the British FAL. Yeah, again, like we said before, the wall hangers are utter crap anyway, and I don't really see the purpose of them, Mike, but it is the same sort of thing where, you know, it wasn't causing a problem, one gets used, and you know, then the media jump on it. Like we were saying, we're sort of surprised that the crossbows haven't done it, where they've, you know, like we're saying, the assault crossbows, and all that crap, you know, kill 100 people a minute with an assault crossbow. Like, I'm surprised due to the media jumping on those there hasn't been more of a reaction to that, but there are old laws to do with crossbows where I think they're sort of covered a bit better than some of the other things are. If it's a proper katana, they're not banned. If it's a cheap crappy wall hanger, that is banned. Yeah, Jack Striker did a video on that, sheep, about using a newspaper as a defensive weapon. But obviously they wouldn't ever ban a newspaper. Jaden, I did speak about South Africa a couple of times on here before, but as said, I'm not getting into stuff that's really political like that. Yeah, I've said before, Ryan, on loads of my videos, I've got one or two really sad people that subscribe just to dislike every video. I've seen a couple of other people, Alright, I've just got somebody to block, hang on, that came on here to advertise his own channel. So, there we go, he's blocked. His comment was literally like, "Hey, check out my channel. I'm doing a giveaway. Come and look at my videos." What I might do though, Jaden, is I am going to do a video on about preparing for civil unrest, to do with like tier agents and like anti-riot stuff. So that stuff might be relevant, but it won't directly be linked to South Africa. I mean, if you've got firearms in South Africa, now's the time when you're going to need them. If you're actually staying there and can't get asylum anywhere else. But I said I don't want to get too much into that, because that's the sort of thing in the UK I could probably be arrested for talking about too much. Because this is the problem, if you're in a country like the UK where you have no real freedom of speech, if I start talking about some things, it's likely I could end up in jail for it. Favourite Warsaw Pact mask is the SHMS, unless you mean actual non-Soviet Warsaw Pact ones, then maybe the CM3? That's kind of a difficult one. Well, there would be martial law if the army took over, I assume, but there isn't like actual martial law. No problem, Jaden, it's just like, as I've said, the UK is a shithole where we've got almost no freedoms left. So I do have to be very careful what I talk about on here, because I know I've already got the attention of certain government type things where I was doing sort of videos talking about some of the shit the government have been pulling. I managed to break my arm at one point and had the bone come out there. What's that, a compound fracture? I think I got asked about that on another stream once. I had two bones breaking my arm, the ulnar and the radius, was it? Radius, whatever it's called, that broke there. Yeah, I mean, I've not heard with the Count Dankula thing what's going on now, but I know he's raised a load of money to do an appeal. Because he didn't get a very big fine, but it's kind of to send a message. That's how they erode freedom of speech. There's lots of videos you can watch on this, but the idea is they go after somebody sort of for telling a joke that's a bit edgy to start with, and then it becomes more and more commonplace, obviously, to erode more and more rights. And it's like Tommy Robinson got essentially gulagged the other week, where what they did was they knew he was going to be reporting outside of court, and they didn't get him for contempt of court or anything like that. They actually did him for breaching the peace, which is a meaningless charge because it doesn't mean anything. But the whole thing was obviously planned out beforehand, because they had like 8 cops turn up with a prison van. They grabbed him, put him there, took him on trial, didn't tell anybody where he was so he couldn't get a proper lawyer. And then within hours they had him like guilty. Well, I think the trial took like 5 minutes, it was a kangaroo court, and then they had him in prison. So that's sort of what the UK is turning into. It's like the Soviet system, or in 1984 becoming an unperson. Nova 6 would be based off of nerve agents. Favourite World War II rifles in the Enfield? There's one up there, but I think it's just out of frame. I'm not going to move the webcam because it's a pain in the arse to get set up again. I've got a blue snowball, which is pretty good. I've got some foam on the back to cut the sound of the computer fan down a bit, but as I said earlier, I've got a cooler on because it's over 30 degrees. I'm pretty sure a fume hood is the thing that you have like an extractor, like above somewhere. Like if you had like a cupboard where you do chemical experiments. I'm pretty sure the fume hood is like the thing where it sucks up the gas, like an exhaust. Yeah, blue snowball was pretty good. Like I said, I've had to put foam on the back of mine because if your computer's on your desk, the issue is the computer fans are too close to the mic and it will pick them up. So I've put some foam on there, but it's much better audio quality than my old headset, and it means you don't have to have a headset with the thing on all the time, which is quite nice. People can hear you obviously just from talking. I think somehow Skunky Ferret it is possible, because I know some Russians were saying to me they used to filter vodka, like homemade vodka, through GP5 filters, and that wasn't a joke. There's actually a way of doing it, but you can't simply just pour the water through, because often the charcoal and everything else will leak out with it. But so I wouldn't be the person to ask on that, but there is a way of doing it. Problem is I've missed some of the questions where people are talking about things in multi-part, so when people are saying like this is a good price or something, I have no idea what they're on about now. You'll probably want an ABEX style P3 filter like the ones I normally recommend, Jaden, but again I will get a video done on that and just make it about civil unrest in general. But yeah, the combination filters of the particulate bit are your best bet because they're going to work against more things than one. Favourite tank's probably just a Challenger 2. If we're on about retro tanks, T72 or T54, depending how far back you want to go. No, don't think I did go for a walk earlier, Mike, but I don't think I saw anybody too shifty. I did see 2 very weird blokes, though, like a week before when I went on a walk, randomly talking in some sort of Eastern European language, and obviously there's no problem with that in itself, but they were randomly stood at the edge of a field, you know, chatting away, not in English, which is a bit odd, in the middle of the countryside. I had some Magnum boots years ago. They were alright, but they only lasted me about a year. I had some Viper boots after that lasted me about several months before they fell apart. I like the old Austrian and German army boots, like the modern ones that you can buy in very good, like grade A surplus condition, because they're very cheap and they're very hard wearing. GP5s are like £10 to £20, $10 to $20. Zippos are fine, it's just that they obviously evaporate the sort of liquid fuel out. Right, he's gone. Well, Spooky Bane, it's like 30 plus degrees here. Generally by this time of day, because it's later in the day, I'm a bit tired. I'm looking at a stream, which doesn't help. The lighting's obviously not great because I can't actually... Problem is, it looks a bit like Dario Argento lighting, is if I open the curtain it's going to be too bright and in my face because of the angle of the sun setting. But every stream I get people like, oh, you look tired, why is that? I know what DayZ is, but that's centigrade, by the way, not Fahrenheit, because if it was 30 Fahrenheit it wouldn't be very hot. I know what DayZ is, I have no interest in playing it. I am not interested in those Battle Royale games at all, because people keep asking me about that, and I'm starting to think it's people, you know, taking the piss a bit with that, because, oh, you don't like those games, but let's keep asking you if you've played Fortnite. Not off the top of my head. Aren't some of those MSA masks the same type as the sort of MCU2P? The same kind of... I don't know if the advantage is, but I know they did like the Millennium as well, which was a similar mask. As long as it's not cracked rival, but obviously if the rubber splits, then no. I think that's probably mixed footage because a one-handed opening knife they'd say is concealable, and then you could flick it open very quickly and stab somebody from a concealed position, whereas a crossbow everybody can see you're carrying it. DayZ is Battle Royale. It was basically Battle Royale of zombies, and then the whole PlayerUnknown's Battleground thing was you know, like, oh, we can do this without the zombies now, and it's immediately incredibly popular. It's a small map where people run around shooting each other. Well, I actually know that with, to be honest, with DayZ, if it's on the Arma 2 map, it's a massive map, isn't it? But depends. Not really. Okay, like let's take a Swiss Army knife. Can you open that one-handed? Not really. I'm sure there's a way you could train to do it one-handed, but you can't. You need two hands, right, to open a Swiss Army knife. Let's look at some others. This one, can I open this one one-handed? Maybe. Like, it's not easy. You probably cut yourself. I think what they're on about is something like this, where I could go and then get it out. So it's concealable. You have it in your pocket, and then you've got it out and it's open. That's what they're on about. I can understand why there's a law like that. I don't say I agree with it, but I can understand it. Fallout marginally, but I only actually like New Vegas and a couple of others. I find it quite funny that there's people trying to do the offensive trolling when often what will happen is nobody can see their message because it turns up in like I have to approve the message and then I can just block them instantly. So it's quite funny, to be honest, that they actually bother to go to the effort where I can block them instantly, because it takes more time to log into multiple accounts and do that than it does for me to block, which I always think is funny. Well, but Red, what you're saying though is it is Battle Royale, because it's where everybody goes onto a map and then they have to find the stuff they loot and then they kill each other. That's exactly what PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is. That's why it became so popular, because everybody's just shoved into a map where they have to kill each other. Obviously the formula wasn't really perfected till it's become this sort of mainstream cancerous gameplay now, but the whole point is that, you know, can you see what I'm getting at? Yeah, like I've said, there's some really sad people on here. I get several really sad people that subscribe just to dislike over and over and over again. even though that actually helps my channel by doing that, which I don't think they realise because it counts as interactions by YouTube. What I mean is when somebody basically comes on just to say, like, I think you're a prick and stuff like that. That's what I'm on about. But it doesn't matter who's trolling because they're blocked. You won't see their messages because it holds them till I've reviewed them and then they're already deleted. So why does it matter if somebody's being an arsehole in the chat? It doesn't matter to you at all. Car 98 because the Arasaka has the underpowered cartridge. Yeah, that's the thing. I think now and again, Mike, there's one or two they'll spell stuff right, spell stuff wrong, and it will get through. But for the most part, it's just a total waste of their time. Because people were saying that to me earlier. They said, "What's the point in you trying to enforce better rules on your video things? Because people are just going to take that as a challenge to troll you." And I said, "Well, the thing is, the amount of time and effort it takes to make an account or switch accounts to come back on and get instantly blocked, it's far less effort for me than it is for them." And you know, doing YouTube a lot means you get quite thick skin, so you're not gonna. Nobody's ever gonna actually offend me with the stuff they try and come up with. So you know, they go to a lot more effort than I go to block them. So it's just a waste of their time, really. It doesn't make it, you know, hard for me to do at all. I love the US Tesla. I've just not been. I'd love to go. Yeah, Nagants are pretty cool. You can buy them very cheap, can't you, in the States? I mean, the Enfield's my favourite bolt action. I've got it up there, but I've got one balaclava, no idea where it is, and it ripped because it was one with the 2 eyepieces, and then it ripped and it's become like a 1 eyepiece one. Oh look, he's back again, but this time your gas masks stink. Wow, what low quality bait. And it's always something to do with a dog in his name, so it's not even, you know. I don't know, I just find that quite funny. That this one guy is so sad he has to keep coming back and nobody cares, and he's just making himself look like more and more of an idiot. Yeah, the new laws on deacts, so they have to be even more deactivated. Maybe an AK-74 Hanzo, like the really nice versions. No, I don't have Netflix. I have Amazon Prime, but I don't have Netflix, so so stuff that's exclusive to Netflix I probably won't have much interest in. I have a few bayonets. I can't remember if I've done a video of all my bayonets in. If not, I will. But the problem is, again with bayonets, you don't often see them for sale because people can't sell them on eBay as far as I'm aware over here. So it's generally like sites that sell deactivated guns sometimes get bayonets in. And we said mixed footage, we're not going into anything like this on this stream, so don't ask questions like that. Yeah, I think it's a bit better for you though, Mike, because the chat moves fairly quickly on mine. It can be a little bit of a pain just to find their name to make sure I block them and not somebody else by accident. I don't know if it would let me undo if I block the wrong person, because that's the only thing I wouldn't like in the stream, is if the chat's moving too fast, blocking the wrong person. It doesn't bother me at all if they're sad enough to keep coming back. It's not really a problem, you know, to block them. There's plenty of things rival you don't need a license for over here, but you know. No, I've been over that many times, mixed footage. No, I just collect them because I like militaria, weirdly enough. When you say Zweihanders, you mean just like claymores and other big two-handed swords, don't you? No, I don't have any World War I trench maces. The only mace I've got, I'll show you, because it's in the room at the moment. That one. I've done a video on it. It's pretty decent, pretty hefty. The only really annoying thing of this is it keeps getting some sort of residue on it, and I'm not actually sure what it is, and I've cleaned it off loads of times, so you can probably see on the end there's some sort of residue. So I have absolutely no idea what that's coming from. It's not rust. I don't know if it was like some sort of glue or grease that they put on it when I sort of unpacked it, and that's caused problems. I'll clean that off again later and try and sort that out, but I just don't know what's causing the residue. It's really weird. It's not being stored on anything that should cause that. Let's get the chat back up so I can see it. See where I missed off. No, I don't have a PO box. I assume a spacesuit obviously has to be pressurised with oxygen inside. They're probably very complicated. Right, I might just skip forward in the chat a bit because obviously where I'm a bit behind, it then becomes even harder to catch up. I can't even see the guy everybody's referring to, but well, that's not a fake mace, if he's implying that's a fake mace. It's actually a proper sort of carbon steel one, hence why it's rusting a bit or getting the weird residue on it. And he's just being another troll, so let's hide him as well. I've played Project Reality Warp for Battlefield 2, I've played that. I ought to try Squad at some point, but yeah, I haven't actually played it. That was from the Night Shop, I think. A few other places. A Windless Steelcraft one, Skill the Grim, or however you pronounce his name's done a video on that where he bought it thinking it was going to be quite crap because it's quite a cheap mace, and then he was pleasantly surprised with it and, you know, used it for bashing up all sorts of things. Well, ideally when they make the multicam Flectarn available, that thing, but probably multicam. I like Flectarn a lot, but there's lots of different shades of it. Some are better than others. Whereas well, I actually like MTP, which is British multicam. It's slightly different, but well, I mean, a mace would cave somebody's head right in if you hit them with it, but I don't know if it's good for self-defense. A firearm would be better. You know, Tesla, it really doesn't matter as long as it's a mask that takes RD40 filters, so 40mm NATO filters. You can get the filters for it easily. It makes a proper pressurized seal, and you're comfortable wearing the mask. It doesn't really matter. Now, I played a bit of Armour 3 and couldn't get into it. I actually preferred Armour 2 a lot more than Armour 3. I don't know why. I always found Armour 2 sort of ran better as well. With Armour 3 I found it would like randomly stutter even if I turn the settings down quite a lot, and that's across several PCs I found that, so I think it just has some optimization problems in it. Oh, and he's back again. I do find it quite funny that this one guy thinks he's actually accomplishing something here. How many accounts do you think he's got? No, it's not a Galil, it's a SLR. can you get a small crossbow, Jaden? Because a compound bow has lots of problems where, like, you can have something come off the side. Ah, thank you very much, Tyler. But yeah, if you can get a regular size crossbow, like 120-pound draw weight recurve, that would be the best thing. Pistol crossbows might be good enough, but the problem is I wouldn't trust them enough. Because it's like, if you can get a full-size crossbow, get a full-size crossbow. Compound bows I don't really trust because of all the ways they can go wrong. So really, recurve bow or recurve crossbow in a sensible size. But yeah, thanks again, Tyler, as well, for the donation. Probably MG42 mixed footage because it's classic. But then again, MG3 because it's in 7.62 NATO, so it's actually an easily available caliber. They're not getting any attention. This is the thing, we've all been laughing at this guy in the stream. He's not managing anything at all. It's quite funny. Now, I was moaning about Battle Royale games earlier, mate, so don't get me started on PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Well, with YouTube, you can have multiple accounts on the same account, if that makes sense. But again, the time to make it takes a while, so I think this is a guy who probably already has like 10 ready. He spent, you know, spent ages making 10 accounts so he could just do this to loads of people. Or, yeah, he is being sad enough to quickly make a new one and come back every time, even though he's not accomplishing anything. But again, definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and not getting a different result, isn't it? So, he's insane. Foul, easily. Well, I heard Britain was buying another helmet from some American firm. I didn't think it was called the Mark 8 helmet. I think they were literally saying, well, we've got a Mark 7 helmet that's fine, but now we need to give more money to foreign companies, so we need to buy another thing. Not in this video, Max Res. I've done lots of videos on them. Well, I finished Half-Life 2. Well, I did a video, that's not, the quote isn't originally from Far Cry 3. The quote is much older than Far Cry 3. Well, I've done a video all about Siege. I used to quite like Siege, but the gas masks in it are all stupid. It's what people think look cool rather than actually would work. I keep getting asked about buying Italian masks and Italian helmets and other nations. If I can get them, I'll get them, but if they're too expensive or, you know, not easily available, you know, then no. Wouldn't you have to have a clean air hose? If you've been blocked, you probably have done something to deserve it, like all the people that were blocked earlier, or the one person that was blocked several times earlier. So yeah, use this account then and don't do anything stupid. But again, lots of people who get blocked don't have a reason for getting blocked. But I think I've said to people on streams before, I'm not really going to have them come in and whine about being blocked, because some people like to do that on alternative accounts. Where was I? I'd assume the M2000 is much better, but I don't have one, so I can't comment on it. Glad you like them, Ivan. Oh, Italians are cool. I don't really have a problem with anybody. I keep getting asked that, what do you think about X country? What do you think about Y country? I don't really see why anybody would need to replace 120mm guns on tanks. I mean, that's kind of the standard tank thing. It's normally ATGMs that keep being improved. Because the L85 was basically one of those rifles where they went for the cheapest possible thing, not the thing that was actually the best. It's like why the GSR is so bad. Well, the Avon M50 won all the weapons trials, but Scott will do us the GSR so much cheaper. Let's go with that, even though it doesn't tick any of the boxes we want. So, you know. Alright, Matt, yeah, that's fine. Just comment on this account. Like I said, I don't know, because, like I said, I normally have to block several people a day, and most of those people are saying stuff that warrants it. But I have had people as well say, why have you blocked me? And I know for a fact I've not blocked them, and they just can't comment, or whatever, so, no idea. I had a guy earlier who was getting convinced I blocked him, even though he kept commenting on all my videos. He obviously wasn't blocked, so, you know. I really don't know, for some of the things, but Like, if somebody like Weapon Collector said to me, oh, I've been blocked to me on another platform, then I'd make sure I'd actually unblock him. But because I've had people say that, like I comment with a lot, who have randomly think they've been blocked, and I go on my block list and they're not there. But for whatever reason, YouTube won't let them comment on some of my videos for a while. No, I haven't tried Dead Frontier, didn't even look into it. I like mint ice cream, like mint chocolate ice cream. In theory they're of use, Tesla, it's just a lot of the time they're not. It's like, have they been made properly? I get the airsoft question every stream, mixed footage, so I'm not going to answer it, because I've answered this like every stream I do. So no, I won't answer that, because I've answered it every stream. Yeah, but I'd replied to him, and then he still kept making comments saying, like, why did you block me? Oh, he's back again with another account. Bye. I haven't played Battlefield 1, don't have really much incentive to. I know that the Battlefield next one, 5, whatever it is, everybody's hating on that. But, like, I prefer Rising Storm and Red Orchestra to Battlefield. I don't actually know, because obviously I've not been blocked from a channel that I know of, so I can't actually tell you that, Mimi. I'm assuming basically what happens is it's either a shadow ban or it tells you you've been blocked. I really don't know. If I could lift a ban in the UK, probably the firearms ban, I just make it like the US, because at this point it can't get any worse. So you can go into a thing, they check your criminal record, and then you can just buy a pistol. Why not? Why not? Let's see what happens. I've got Day of Infamy, yeah. That's alright. I haven't played loads of it. I prefer Insurgency, to be honest. But they're actually going to do Stalker 2 now. It's been confirmed again, assuming that it actually gets to completion point. Scar L and Scar H, isn't it? They're both cool. I mean, it's FN's successors to the Foul, the heavy Scar. So that enough is cool. And I've seen people putting old Rhodesian magazines in the Scar H, so that is very cool. For the most part, eBay is, yeah, because lots of people can just make surplus accounts on eBay. Favourite helmet might actually be my Riot helmet. I think I get the most use out of that, otherwise East German M56. Not as far as I know, Mental Exploration. I think for the most part, lots of African nations just bought masks from anybody else. I mean, a lot of South Africa's stuff was like old Commonwealth equipment, like British Army equipment. Oh look, he's back again. Hang on a second. Yeah, exactly, Aiden. Well, you can't really make a bulletproof gas mask, it wouldn't work. Nah, it's just the crime level's getting worse and worse, Mimi. That's an SLR over there. Well, SLR over there. I think Weapon Collector said he wasn't able to do it in the end. The annoying thing is I had to go on his channel to see that, because even though I've got the thing where it should notify me if he puts out an announcement like that, because YouTube, you know, doesn't always show notifications, the annoying thing was, I was like, oh, it's 8:30. Isn't Mike streaming tonight? And then I went on his account, I thought, I'll check the community tab, and he's like, oh, he's not streaming. He said on here, but of course YouTube's not notified anybody. No, Lamp. It will actually probably make it worse, because ammonia and urine is probably going to react with chlorine. I don't know about Croatia. I know the Serbians use a mask called the M3, which is pretty much an M40 copy. I don't know if it's under license, but I actually don't know about Croatia. A lot of the time you can't easily even find this stuff out online. SLR, definitely. It's because they keep cutting police more and more, Nathan. So they cut the police, and then they pretend that there's not a problem. So it gets worse and worse, and then they say, well, the police, rather than arrest criminals, why don't you arrest people for free speech online? Don't think I've bought any new lighters. If I have, I'm sure I'd do a video on it if I bought it. It's like with gas masks, and people say, have you got any new gas masks? It's like, well, if I had, I'd have done a video on it. I already answered your question, Lamp. Yeah, it's basically what people say in South Africa. It's going to happen what happened from Rhodesia turning into Zimbabwe. It's going to be this communist style racial takeover where everybody basically is either killed or loses their land and starves. I've not actually seen them cheap though, the OZK ones, because I'd love to get one of those. I think they look amazing. I'm going to just have a quick look on eBay now, just in case for whatever reason you know, I can see one cheaply, but the cheapest one that comes up is £70 from Lithuania, so I'm definitely not going to spend that on it. Yeah, there's lots of masks where I will get them if I get a chance, like I've said before to people. Most I've spent on the gas mask was nearly £100 on my XM28 E4. I don't think there'd be much chance to get gun rights in the UK, unless of course everything collapses like it does. I've only seen an M2000 once on eBay and it was about £100. Pike and shot formation, but that's kind of late medieval, isn't it? Pike and shot. Or do you mean for a single person? What I've got, which is really good, you can find this stuff on eBay, is, let me just get it here, where you can see it on the camera. This stuff, from China. It's like a weird orange minty smelling paste. Let me put a bit on my finger so you can see it. And this works really well on my eczema. I've got a couple more tubes because this one's nearly empty, so it might not actually come out. So it just looks like that. It's like a weird orange kind of cream, I guess. And it smells, yeah, like mint. It's sort of an aloe vera kind of mint thing. And this works far better than proper creams for me, I found. Like, even the prescription dermatitis creams don't work as well as this stuff, and it's like not harsh at all. It's quite pleasant stuff, actually. Yeah, if you see an OZK for £20, that'd be amazing. I'd definitely buy it for that. For one person, maybe a horseman's pick, warhammer and a shield. You can put an S10 on pretty quickly, or any of the modern Avon masks, because they have the quick strap adjustment system for it. I wouldn't really spend £60 on a 3M mask though, that's the thing. I might buy the Chinese direct copy of a 3M mask, but then I'm a bit sceptical about it working properly. Well, in the exclusion zone now, the radiation levels are quite low, so with a Geiger counter and just, like, NBC type clothes on, you'd be fine. The issue is just walking into, I guess, a big pocket of radiation somewhere. Yeah, well, I think we can all agree, can't we, this guy is really lame and pathetic. I mean, I just find it pretty amazing that this guy hasn't taken the hint yet. He's not managing to do anything. Well, he's trying to disrupt it, but obviously he's just too stupid to realise he's not doing anything. So basically, yeah, what's happening is he keeps coming back like, oh, get him this time, oh. I don't actually really have any Molly or Alice stuff, that's the thing. I don't have like a chest rig with everything else. Yeah, I think it's probably, it could be one of the surplus sellers I've annoyed. That wouldn't surprise me, you know, all the people trying to shift GP5 filters and getting annoyed because people are now questioning or not whether they're safe. Because I've had surplus sellers yell at me on here before, so it might be that. You never know. I've missed your question, Dark Shadow. You have to ask it again. Oh. I haven't actually seen that. Let me Google it then. Hang on. So it's an Italian gas mask, yeah? Gas mask King has a thing on it. That's pretty cool looking. Yeah, I like the look of that. Sadly, I've never seen one for sale. Like I said, there's some really cool looking Italian masks and lots of masks that I don't have. It's just actually seeing some for sale is kind of the problem. Seeing them for sale at sensible prices. Yeah, I did judo years ago, but we don't actually know what the drama is. I'm hoping to do another camo video soon. You need somebody with you to help you do all the photos and that with a camo video. So it's actually organising to go somewhere, you know, to do it. That's the annoying thing with doing camo videos. If I got a full SCBA set up cheaply and it was guaranteed to work and be safe, then yes. But it's one of those things where, do I really want oxygen tanks laying around and like pressurised stuff? I've seen some industrial masks, Mike, that are bright yellow and stuff like that, but for the most part they're not very common. I think 3M's done some quite bright masks. They'd be better than nothing mixed footage, but they still wouldn't be very good. Yeah, it does surprise me with scrim nets because they're really useful things, Tesla. You know, it does, like, some Americans know them as sniper veils, apparently, but, you know. I use size 2 on most Avon masks. With the S10, size 1 is large, size 4 is very small. So size 2 is like large or medium large. With the modern other Avon masks, like the FM12, it only has 3 sizes. Again, size 1 is large, 2 is just a direct medium. The only one I can remember is Khorne out of the Warhammer Chaos Gods. Wait, is it Slanesh, Nurgle, and was it Tzich? Oh, that is all of them, I think, but probably Khorne. Skulls for the Skull Throne. Modern filters, just because they become more efficient at making smaller filters, but I still won't go below a certain size. Yeah, well, it's because firstly there's 4 variants of stripped down or raindrop camo. There's Hungarian strict arm, well they wouldn't all call it strict arm, but there's Hungarian raindrop, East German raindrop, Polish raindrop, and Czechoslovakian raindrop or needle camo. And then depending on which factory printed it and which year and how much it's faded, lots of them can look different, so that's why it will often look different all across different equipment. No Jason, you're not blocked, I'm reading your message, it's just there's too many comments. L1A1 SLR or FM FAL. Some escape hoods are basically like disposable gas masks, some are intended for like house fires and building fires. You'd have to find out with your Draeger model which exact model it is. If other people reply to you as well, you're not blocked, just to let you know. I wouldn't really want to do merchandise, to be honest, it'd be too much to manage. Right, let's look at your thing, Dark Shadow. That's pretty cool looking. That's a pretty early panoramic mask, isn't it? Yeah, that's quite cool. Right, where was I with the comments? I personally always go with 2.2 with the air rifle, just simply for the fact, yeah, sometimes it is legitimate expensive postage if it's far away in weight, but that's why I don't like buying stuff with the modern Russian masks when people ask, just simply because so many of the modern like Russian masks, it's like, oh yes, I sell a mask to you, 20-30 pounds, but 40-pound postage please, very expensive postage in Russia. Yes, it's like, no, sorry Ivan, you're not fooling me with that. But yeah, 2.2 air rifles are more common. I just personally go for 2.2, also easier to load if your hands are cold. Yeah, I like Soylent Green, a lot of the old Charlton Heston movies. Alright Peach, you've missed all the fun. Oh, where you said your mask was digging into your Adam's apple the other day, have you got one that's too big, or are you putting your chin past the chin guard for it? Because it shouldn't be able to do that, because I was trying to look down with mine, and it was only if I had a coat on it would actually dig in. You can own guns in Britain, buddy boy, it's just you have to jump through a lot of hoops and it depends what you want. Alright, see you South African Defence Force. I've got a Discord, but it's a patrons only one, so if you donate $1 or more you can post in it. If you're interested, that link's below. Now and again I'll do silly videos. I don't know even if it's really Russian accent, it is very generic Eastern Europe accent, like comedic accent. I really don't know where actually it is, but I do the same one for like if ever I do Eastern Europe accent. Even though when I've been there, people never sound like that. But it's a stereotype. Yeah, that's the problem with my stream. I like Mike's ones a lot more because it's a lot calmer and we can have conversations properly. With these it goes too quickly, and I said at the beginning of this stream, and I'm finishing it in about 5 minutes, what I was gonna do is like actually find a topic and then I just talk about the topic non-stop and then go back to it, but it's mostly been playing whack-a-mole with a troll in this stream, funnily enough. And he's back and gone again. I'd say weapon collector for my favourite YouTuber, at least out of sensible sized channels. With really big channels, I'm trying to think of what I watch a lot. Shitcase Cinema, I've been binge watching his videos lately, they're quite funny. For urban, there's not that many actual urban camouflages though. There's some grey urban ones, maybe Stricton. Yeah, putting foliage in your equipment is pretty good for camo, breaking up the form and everything. For countryside areas, it totally depends on the area, but like multicam, MTP, any of the woodland camos really. M17 filters do not contain asbestos but contain chromium. With the clones I really don't know because we haven't had asbestos tests done on them. I don't have any medieval armour, no. I've got a few medieval weapons, but I don't have medieval armour. A lot of it's quite expensive and it's bulky. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is though, Mike. It's answering the questions until he comes back again and they're just blocking him and, tell you what I could do, Mike. I don't know if I can do it through, yeah, I can. There you go. I've given you moderator status, Mike, so if you spot him and I don't, you can block him as well. Although we're finishing the stream now, but I'd actually trust you to do it, that's the thing. What was your question, Bob Stone? I didn't see it. Let me scroll up in case it's recently. But the problem with these things is the comments move too fast for me to see every question. Repeat your thing, Bob, before I finish, and then I'll answer you. Soviet, that's an L1A1 SLR. Alright, cheers, Mike. Oh, and he's gone again. Thanks, Tesla, you spotted him before I did. Flectarn shirts are like anywhere between £5 and £10 really. They're quite cheap. Flectarn is really good surplus for buying cheap. Yeah, my stuff's been quite popular recently, which also means I do have to put up with more idiots like the try keep blocking in the thing, but it's generally because if you're doing something in, like, when you do film a video, you've got a 16:9 aspect ratio, right? If there's a bit of the image that looks good for the thumbnail, I crop it, but then I have to re-stretch it to a 16:9 aspect ratio, that's why. If it's too square, I don't stretch it, but a lot of the time that's just it, because with YouTube thumbnails, they have to be 16:9. You can't have 4:3. So if it's closer to 4:3, it always looks stretched when it becomes a thumbnail. I don't think they did, Martin. I've not heard of that, but no, I did watch the 2 Conan films though, weirdly, the other day, because I was speaking in Mike's stream about it. No, I've only played Metal Gear 1 and 2. I think I played Snake Eater as well, 3, but I can't remember it very well. You can get lens outserts for the FM12, but I've never seen them for sale. But I think this time he's threatening to blow up my local Fallout shelters. We don't have Fallout shelters in the UK. It's alright, we're finishing the stream in a minute, but I'm amazed he's still at it. Mimi, like we said, we're not going into political stuff too much. I mean, he's often described as the best Prime Minister Britain never had. There's quite a good film about him. The One Guy, Aaron. I've got loads of genres I like, Jason. I think I've answered that before. I quite like prog rock. Soundtracks and prog rock. I don't think it would mix footage. I could actually test that for you at some point, but I really don't think it would. These are actually like particulates though in these, because if you spray them on something you can see the powder, and I've had inhalers before that actually just shoot out powder, not even a spray. I mean, I think Bullfrog, it might even be somebody who's already made loads of accounts prior to this, like they'll randomly find a stream. I think what the person probably does is basically what you can do is they've probably made like 50 accounts linked to one YouTube account so far so they can quickly switch. Then they probably see on the thing where YouTube just says somebody's live streaming and they probably just go on and stay on. But I'm surprised he's still here though, because like I said, normally when people don't get angry they learn, but then again he's probably not very smart, is he? So people keep saying he's back, but I've not seen a comment. No idea. If you mean like the demonetization thing, yes and no. It's really hit and miss whether it actually does something, you know, or not. There's just somebody coming on, generic user, constantly just leaving nasty comments that half the time nobody can even see, immediately getting blocked by myself, and then coming back with another account and doing it again. Oh yeah, I forgot. Forgotten Weapons is one of the things that I watch. Nah, if I was setting up a shop it'd be surplus, and there's lots of surplus sellers already, so it's not something to do. Anyway, I said I'm going to finish the stream about now anyway. Oh wait, so the guy saying you're back is the one that was doing it. Yeah, I've just looked at several of his channels. There are always pictures of Hitler and the Nazis, and this channel doesn't have any content. What a surprise. What a surprise. I go for an M9 bayonet myself. Right then, yeah, I'll finish that off. So we've had one real loser on here tonight. I think, for your question quickly on Italian filters, before we go, it depends on the filter. Modern ones would be safe, old ones probably not. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. Thanks for the donation from the guy who donated. For the people who are interested in my Patreon, it's down below, because I get questions on that now and again. So yeah, thanks for watching everybody who's actually a sensible person, and see ya. Until probably next week, I imagine. I'll do another stream next week.